If you could have a superpower, which one would it be? One superpower, right? Well, I heard this conversation on the radio after I got done at the boxing gym today, and it was on National Public Radio. And they interviewed Chris Weir, who I think he was the one who made the Hurricane or Windman superpower hero. Hey, Gil. And I thought about this. I thought, wow, if I could have one superpower, what would it be? So they started interviewing these people, and people were saying, a lot of people were saying flying, being invisible, and then they asked them why. And flying, everybody said, oh, it's really cool, I can go here, I wouldn't have to be, commuting to work, and, I'd be a really cool person if I could fly. And then the people that wanted to be invisible, it was really about voyeurism, or in a sense, but it really was about shoplifting and stealing and then listening to gossip and being there and hearing what people thought about you. And I thought, wow, that's weird. And the two things I thought about, you can only pick one, but the first thing I thought about was giving hope to the hopeless. If I could give hope to the hopeless, like if that was my superpower, I thought that could be so powerful. I mean, I could give hope where someone couldn't get a job or they couldn't get a sandwich or something like that, And then the other superpower I thought about was, could I, if I had this like intuitive ability, which in a sense I kind of almost do, to maybe prohibit a criminal from committing a crime. Maybe I could stop them before they got there. Wouldn't that be kind of cool? If you could have such an intuitive power, which I think we kind of do in a sense. It depends on who we are, I guess, and how we manage our lives and our time and how many kids we have. I only have 2 kids. But if you had like 6 kids, you probably can't, it'd be hard to stop a crime, I think, having 6 children and taking care of your house and everything like that. Because I have a few friends who have 6 children each, so I kind of have a clue about that. But I thought, imagine if you kind of like somehow were there and you could stop a guy from committing a rape or a pedophile, an act of pedophile, or, I mean, that's what I thought. Those are the first 2 things I thought about. After I thought about, giving hope to the hopeless. I thought that was like the number one thing. I thought that was really a great superpower. Well, so I'm listening to this radio show, and they talk about why did these people select? They did a psychological analysis that everybody they talked to, like at bars or at functions or whatever, they chose flying or being invisible. It shows a very dark side. It shows a very dark side to people, especially that's what they thought about being invisible. But they said flying is very egotistical. And I thought, wow, I never would have thought of that. It's like very, like they're already heroes. All they have to do is fly, and then that is going to make them more of a hero. And I was like, wow, And none of them thought about hope for the hopeless, if they had a superpower and they had the superpower of giving hope to the hopeless. And I thought, wow, that's weird. Out of all the people they asked, I don't know how many people they asked, but they did this study. And the podcast was on today. I should probably post it. But it was really interesting. And I wasn't sure how it really got started, even though I was there listening to it. But I think one of the greatest things, and I thought about this. I was in the gym. Oh, this must have been, it was August 2013. And that's about as far as I'm going to go as far as giving dates and times. But I was wrestling with this man who knew me. And I had a suspicion that he had committed a crime. And I knew it wasn't anything like murder or anything like that. But I had a feeling that his disappearance, that he was up to no good. Even though somebody told me where he was, I kind of went, huh? And so as I'm wrestling with him, we paused for a second. I asked him about a wrestling move, and then I said, hey, and by the way, where the heck were you? So I said, where were you for X amount of time? Oh, I was down in blah, 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 doing blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you mean you weren't getting a tan? Yeah, I was busting him. Because I really, really didn't believe him. I believed he was down where he said he was. But I believed he actually committed a crime somewhere along the line, like right above that state. And I kept my mouth shut. I didn't say anything. And he looked at me, he goes, and what I said to him was, I said, oh, come on, you weren't down there laying on the beach? And he goes, no, I really, really, he goes, come on, Jody, even me? What, are you kidding me? Like this. So I just had this vibe that I'm like, this guy was up to no good. He did something wrong. And sure enough, in the next month or 3 weeks, police were asking questions. He got caught. He served under a year, because it was, I know what kind of crime it was. It was kind of, I don't know if you would call it a nominal crime. And then he cleaned up his act once he got out, And it's kind of like, I almost wished he wouldn't have committed that crime, but it wasn't anything like he didn't assault somebody, he didn't do anything like that. But it was kind of like, would I stop that kind of a crime, or would I let the person actually do it if I had the ability, the innate ability, like superpower, to stop that crime? And I thought, no, I'd let him make that mistake so that he could serve time in jail so he could learn his lesson. Interesting. So think about a superpower that you think that, what if you were just all of a sudden, magically, you got a superpower, and how it would affect people. I thought that was the coolest thing. I heard that on the radio today on National Public Radio, NPR. So if you go on NPR, and I think it's WNYC, if you Google it, and look for the podcast about Chris Weir and superheroes, you'll probably find it. So anyway, food for thought. Have a great night. Stay safe and be well.